Hey, Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to F1 Manager. This is episode 14. Before we get to the Hungaroring, the Hungarian Grand Prix, one thing that we want to do in this one is it's a back-to-back week here, not much happening in between, but Albon still has not signed a deal for next year. He's with almost total pluses. He's still denied us this last time, and we're kind of running out of time to get something done with that. So we're going to try again, hoping that now's the time. Patience is back to very high, so that actually is much improved from where it was. The second time that I tried, we only got one shot at it. The bonus threshold was the issue the last couple of times, as he kind of wanted that bonus to kick in a bit sooner than what we were getting. We're also going to increase things just a little bit more. I think the lump sum is the one I'd rather spend on because that's up front one time. I'd rather spend one time than many times. So here's what we're trying. And maybe we bump him up to car 1. I don't see why not, right? He is the better driver and will be the better driver for a while. Contract declined. And it's that bonus threshold is the only thing that he's not a fan of. He's neutral, and he's positive to everything else, but still denying the contract. So we'll have to go down to 15. That's rough, but it is what it is. There we go. Whew. So we've got him signed. We will renew contract, and hopefully all that does is swap Porsche and Albon. Oh, I don't want to break his contract. Gonna hurt some patience. We're gonna go back. Oh, now he's not interested. Really? I'm wondering. I've been wondering if we actually even need to go up the grid a little bit. Try to get like a Lando Norris or something. Albon's good, but at 26, he's not improving much, and there is better younger drivers that could be leaders for the future for us. One strong driver while we develop another, and a good reserve driver that's also developing. Getting a little fed up with what we're trying to do here for Alan. Going for car 1 was the problem. He's in car 2. I didn't want to break contract with Porsche. I just wanted to have Porsche's morale drop a bit because he's in car 2 instead of car 1. But yeah, not breaking Porsche's contract for that.
The Hungaroring is abuzz with excitement as Formula One returns to Hungary for another round. We first came here in 1986 after construction on this purpose-built motorsport facility was completed. The Hungaroring is one challenging succession of corners and turns. With few straights, it's affectionately known as the go-kart circuit. Drivers will have to find a proper rhythm to make the most of the layout, and for cars, low-speed downforce will be paramount. The season is about halfway through, and it makes me wonder what else is in store for the teams. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let the weekend begin!
Dry weekend expected ahead of us. We've got some old banged up parts in the car for Friday. Saturday we will swap those out. I need to remember to do that because it's definitely time to put some new parts into the car. But we're also only at the halfway point of the season, and this is going to be the last available for a couple of the parts, or the next to last. Making it to the end of the season is going to be a bit tricky. We are going to see some penalties before the end of the year.
Was that a crash? Multiple cars, I think. Let's take a closer look. Now watch this. Here's Alonso's car.
Uh-oh.
That's the contact there. Oh, there's
Wow,
chaos on the
that
track.
looked intentional. So we had a little spin out there with Albon, and we've been crashed into by Alonso. So that was Albon. And we get a time penalty? FP3, and Albon has crashed on his outlap into his teammate. Minor damage to the wing, but that means we're going to have to use our second new wing in a session, and we're suddenly down to not many left in reserve. We're going to have to get some manufactured here. Porsche has a fresh engine, a fresh gearbox, and a 97% setup. He's happy. We're just working on getting his track acclimatization. Meanwhile, Albin has struggled. He's crashed twice. He's spun. He's gone wide once. And he's never been happy with the setup. We've gotten into the mid-80s. We have replaced his gearbox, but otherwise his engine remains the same. And Albin, until I was just speaking over the last couple of laps, he had been behind Porsche's time by about 2 to 3 tenths. Finally, now just emerging about a tenth of a second ahead. But the latest setup appears to be great. How close have we actually gotten Albin? Just 3 minutes left in the session. Yeah, not good. Actually, worse than what it was. So worse than what it was. We just have not been able to get it. No, this is the highest he's had. 84%. That's it. Ouch. You know which way to go with the traction, but we couldn't get anything optimal even though we've run and run and run and run. I think we're going to be stuck accepting a 13 bonus. We need to just get him back out there and try to get a few more points on the track acclimatization. I don't think that's going to happen really, but too late for changes now. It is what it is. And Albin and Porsche finished the session within a single millisecond. They're right there. 1/1000th of a second apart. Oh, final lap. Albin goes faster. Of course, he had a light fuel load there at the end, and he was able to shave off a few tenths from his time, but okay. Okay, fair game to you. Really unhappy with the call because it looked like we were taken out from behind. And even if we weren't, we were stopped on the track. So for Alonso to have the inside line completely open and then throw it to the outside and crash into us, that's Alonso's fault. And if anything, it's a racing incident. That 5-second penalty was translated into a 3-spot grid penalty. So that means Albin is probably going to be starting in last place for this race. Really unfortunate, as I do think we have potential at least to beat the Aston Martins. There's a lot of slow corners here at the Hungaroring, and a lot of medium corners, and you don't really have much for high-speed corners, which is our strength. So this is possibly the least suited track to us that we're going to see all season, because there's still a decent amount of get up to speed that is necessary. But I suppose if you're going to have one track that everything goes wrong on, it might as well be a track that expectations are low. Of course, Williams in real life is not the Williams we get here in game either. In real life, last season, you saw the Williams perform much better. Both cars in the points. I think that was the only time Latifi scored points like once last season. It was Hungary. But there was a lot of chaos in Hungary. Ocon claiming the win. Oh, Stroll comes out just in time to block both of our cars on our first lap. And you can see Porsche losing 1 1/4 seconds. Looks like Albin was able to cleanly get by. That sucks. And he's not going to get a grid penalty for blocking us like that. That's one thing I wish this game could improve. During qualifying, you don't lose marginal amounts of time going past people. You lose a full second trying to go past cars that get in your way. So Porsche and Albin are both going to go out on the same set of tires for one more lap here. We didn't want the extra fuel on board. The extra fuel on board slows us down way too much. So refuel, go again. Here we are blocking the McLaren at this point. Is he on a flying lap? Hope not. No, looks like he's warming up as well. But he's right behind us. It's so tight. Is he going to overtake us? Both McLarens are out on track, so I'm not sure which one it is. It could just be Norris who finished his lap and he's getting ready to head back in. Because he doesn't look like he's warming his tires. So he could just be headed back to the pits at this stage. We do have traffic in front. There is two cars coming around. Looks like we have an Alpine and then a Mercedes. Mercedes peels off, goes into the pit road, and the Alpine looks like he just started his flying laps. We're okay. And yes, that was Norris. Norris peels off into the pits having finished his lap, and we've got clean air ahead at least for a while. So we'll get the clean run in this time. There's another 4 cars, and we're not gaining too quickly on any of them, but we're definitely gaining on 3 of them. So we are coming up on traffic. This, not good. And really got held up there. So far for Porsche, he has not caught up to that traffic, and he's got just 1 corner to go. It looks like we're going to luck out. The Alpine did not. We will. Porsche goes ahead of Albin. Albin now crossing the line. Does he improve his time? He does not. He does not. Quick in Sector 1, slower in Sectors 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Porsche managed to improve in 2 out of 3 sectors. That puts both cars ahead of Stroll, but well off pace. We were half a second behind anybody else at this stage. Vettel just ahead of us, 2/10 as he crosses the line. The 4 usual suspects at the back. We are sandwiched in between Vettel and Stroll, with Porsche ahead for the first time on Albon, and we want to get out here for one last run here soon. Of course, Albon is carrying that 3-spot grid penalty, so I'm going to send him out first. And then we'll give Porsche free reign to go last on this one. And I think now's almost a good time to pull out. Minute 59, we're running out of time. There we go. We're going to go ahead and get Albin out now. And then Porsche, a few seconds later. There you go. And it looks like we're the last 2. We actually come out just behind the Haas. So Albin is just in line behind the Haas. And yes, we are the last 2 out on track. As long as we make it across the line in time, that's going to give us literally the best chance of putting in a quality time. Under a minute now left in the session. A lot of cars still coming up on the start of their lap. 30 seconds now. I think we're okay, though. Albin and Porsche are coming around the final turn now. He will start in time. He's got 10 seconds to spare. We're okay. That is maximum effort now. Let's see how these guys are doing with that first sector time. Does it improve? Green for Albin. Green for Albin. Green for Porsche. Both green in Sector 1 and both in clean air. And both with the track ramping up in its best state. We do have an Aston Martin also going really late, though, so they're going to have a similar advantage. Tsunoda onto the bubble. He's moved up a spot. Vettel finishes his lap. Does not improve, I don't think. Norris currently out. Ricciardo also just barely in, but I don't think we're going to get better than 2 seconds. I think all we can beat here is Vettel. All we can beat is Vettel. The Aston Martin of Stroll coming on the line right now. He bumps ahead of us. We're going to need to improve our time to get back ahead of him. Albin moves up, but not ahead of Stroll. Porsche last to go. Oh. Improves his time by 5 milliseconds, 5 1,000ths of a second, and is 3 milliseconds behind Albin. So Porsche will start 19th. Albin will start last in this race. But like I said, this is the track that is the least suited to us, as it's low and medium speed corners, and we are built for high and then medium. So the mediums we're okay on. We're not okay anywhere else, and that's going to be the case for a little while. We are specializing a little bit to try to get a few points, and otherwise we're going to eventually build up the entire car.
Tension continues to build here, as race day begins.
Williams had a good performance in qualifying. Now they'll be eager to demonstrate that they can have an even better race. Haas met their potential in qualifying, and they'll be expected to make a good start from the grid. Let's see if they can make it work for them. And the sun is shining bright here today. This is perfect weather for teams and drivers alike to show us what they're capable of.
And we're 70 laps away then from the conclusion of this Hungarian Grand Prix. And each and every one of them is sure to be thrilling. It's bright and sunny as the drivers line up on the grid. Here's Williams. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. And then we've got Alex Albon. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. Everything's been building to this. And here we go, with the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
And the race is underway here in Hungary. Leclerc ahead of Verstappen. Sainz, Bottas starting from P4 as Verstappen takes the early lead here. And we ended up not starting last with Albon as there was bigger penalties for the... Oh, we got a big crash here. Big crash.
Is that a new race position for Haas?
Schumacher were held up by
Oh, we've had a spin.
Magnussen with the big spin
Here's
here.
the
Let's
replay.
go ahead and see the replay of
Lies
what
on
happened.
Kevin
So
Magnussen.
Magnussen, did he lose it on his own, or was he
Oh,
hit
dear, oh,
from
dear.
behind
The car's just
by
gone.
the Aston Martin? It would be nice if he was hit from behind and they pick up a penalty for that one. But the race does resume with a healthy gap, and Magnussen resumes from P15. Unless that was Schumacher. No, because it was Magnussen that spun.
17.
And Schumacher was the one who started from the back.
And
He's
there's
ahead
an
of Albon
overtake
right
from
now.
Williams.
Albon going for a slower start. He's on the hard compound. And then we've got designs to go many different directions, where Porsche is on the more aggressive medium to hard one-stopper. You can see a lot of guys starting on the soft compound. The only one on the hard is Albon. Wow, he's going to have a hard time keeping up like that. But we're already well behind the leader after that early spin held us up and everybody was able to get going, so no stoppage to the race. Here you can see Albon's proposed strategy, going medium all the way, medium effort, aggressive, with a one-stopper. Hards to the medium compound, and I do want to go ahead and back that off now, but he's going to have to try to keep pushing to try to stay within DRS range. Otherwise, he's going to lose a lot of pace compared to, well, right now Stroll's holding up, so that's good. Porsche pushing on right now, P17 behind. Let's go ahead and start backing off for him as well. Let's go neutral. Oh, he's looking to make a pass. Make the overtake. Oh, no. Alright, the only unfortunate thing out of all of this is that Vettel ended up in P14, the first car to get away from the spinning Magnussen, and then Magnussen drove away while still blocking everybody else. So Vettel really gained a lot out of that mess. Qualifying position today was important, but we just do not have the car for it at this race. The fact that Porsche is even P17 is helpful. It was good. And luckily Stroll is a bit behind, so slow enough that Albon's keeping up. Schumacher already having a look to the inside of Stroll as they come down to turn 1, but he is able to complete the move. Schumacher ahead of Stroll. Albon barely keeping up at the back end of that train. Sector 1, we have an issue. Porsche moves up. Somebody's dropping down. It's Vettel. Vettel has made a big mistake. Vettel is down to last place. Yes, okay, Vettel, it's a big lockup. That's going to drop him down to last place. Goes too deep there into the corner and holds up. He holds up. Oh, he's not the only one who went off there either. So 2 cars going off. Is that Sonoda? Yes, Sonoda and Vettel down to 19th and 20th after those lockups and waiting to rejoin safely. Porsche now 2.5 seconds behind Magnussen though, so he's got an unfortunate gap there. That's not going to be good for our pace. Albon staying up half a second behind Stroll. Albon got around Stroll here on lap number 5. Porsche ahead of Schumacher. And 15th, we're running P15, P17 in a race that we shouldn't be in the mix, but it's been a wild first few laps to this race. Sainz back ahead of Verstappen now. Leclerc in 3rd, Hamilton 4th. Bottas, who started strong from 4th, is still 5th on the grid, so he's doing well. The latest to make a mistake was Sainz. It's going to drop him all the way down to P11 by the time he was able to rejoin. So big mistake there from Sainz. But that won't impact our race. That definitely will impact his. He was in the race lead. Porsche overtake it. He had plenty of room to get back on. And he's still hesitating. Wow, he's going to be last place now. So Porsche's mistake is going to bump him down to last place. So one mistake after another throughout the field here. And now our drivers have been no exception to this. Porsche already 3.5 seconds behind Vettel. That's how slow he was to rejoin. Lap 17, first round of pit stops are now underway. Alonso and Tsunoda into the pits. So Tsunoda, who's made multiple mistakes here on lap 20, is in last place, but he's also already made his first stop as he started on the soft compound. Other than him, what we have is the back 4 being the 2 backmarker teams. Albon at the front of the group, just ahead of Stroll. Vettel ways behind, as we are still regularly seeing mistakes up and down the grid, from front runners, from midfield pack to back markers. Porsche, no exception. Albon so far has kept a clean race, but at this point I think we've already seen about a dozen or so lockups, dozen or so mistakes or spins throughout the field. Tsunoda with one of those, Magnussen with one of those. Magnussen has driven away. Albon 10 seconds behind anybody in front, so I think we're looking for P16 really at best, except for the fact that Albon's on the hard compound and Stroll is going to have to pit much sooner. Vettel is going to have to pit much sooner, so will Porsche for that matter. So I think Albon, at least of the back markers, is in the best shape right now. Alonso has already pit and looks like he's going to try to go the distance as he's on the hard compound. 50 laps is a long time. 52 laps is a really long time to go on the hard compound though. It is doable, but it's going to really hurt your pace. Now if Albon were to get up on Alonso and get DRS, that would be fantastic. But we're 10 seconds behind, so that is not happening. Schumacher and Magnussen still on the softs. Probably will pit fairly soon. It's good for gaining XP. Albon and Stroll have been swapping back and forth. We've got the slightly faster car, but we're on the hard compound. He's on the medium. And so whoever has been behind, every time you get DRS, are able to follow closely enough. And then you get DRS, and they've been swapping positions kind of again and again. Not every lap, but every few laps they keep swapping positions. And every overtake or attempted defense is one of those opportunities. As you can see, we almost had a look to the outside there. Stroll goes to the inside to defend, and in the meantime we're saving up fuel, making a nice clean happy run here, allowing the tires to go a bit longer, which means we may even be able to push to the softs and have a few different strategies we can run from. But things are easy at the moment. The problem is 2 Haas cars have pit and are coming up pretty quickly behind. You can see there's another pass. Albon over Stroll on the front straight with DRS. DRS second time though. Will he answer right back? Pourchaire has made some ground on Vettel. Vettel ended up getting the Schumacher toe and is pulled back away a little bit from Pourchaire. So checking in on Pourchaire's tires, we're at 47%, just about into our. Stroll has pit, leaving Albon to his own devices now going forward, so we're going to want to push on a little bit with him. Pourchaire has entered his optimal lap at 42%. I think we want to go full attack and use what we've got and run another lap to a lap and a half here. Pourchaire heads down pit road here on lap 33. One stop strategy, hard compound going on, and he will go the distance. 2.7, 2.7 flat. It's a good stop. And just ahead of us, Vettel stopped as well. Tsunoda has just gone by, leaving Stroll and Vettel behind. There's a 3-second gap there, but Stroll now in DRS of Vettel. So those two are right there, and Pourchaire comes out 5 seconds behind those two. He will need to gain some ground if he is going to compete with them in this race. So we'll immediately kind of set ourselves to the aggressive and see how his pace is compared to them. 5 seconds is the gap. We'll see what happens in about 5 laps time if he makes up any ground. Albon, meanwhile, is at 52% and can easily push on. We might even go aggressive for additional laps, kind of time things so that we can. Albon's been caught by the 2 Haas cars, but he's actually holding them up. Our race really isn't with them, and it would be kind of nice, as it looks like we're 2 Ferraris going past Pourchaire as he just got lapped. Verstappen is actually the leader right now. Sainz and Leclerc are second and third. And there's the 2 Haas cars behind Albon. It would kind of be nice if one of them was ahead and pulling him along, especially as we're still on the hard compound. So are they, but they are on much fresher hard tires than we are. And as we're not really racing them for position, as we have not pit yet, and they have. They're done pitting for the race. So, realistically, we're 20 seconds away from those guys, so holding them up is not doing us any good. One of them ahead of me is probably faster than I am and would easily allow us to get that toe and go a little faster, but he can't seem to get by. Pourchaire's gap, 2 laps later, has grown to 7 seconds, so he's lost about 2 seconds in 2 laps, so he's losing a second a lap right now. But we just actually saw 2 Ferraris go past Pourchaire, so letting them go past is the reason for that time, and we've pulled it back down by about 0.3 of a second, so keeping an eye on that now. I think Pourchaire might be a little faster, and Stroll has lost DRS from his teammate, so that's big. In fact, it just jumped to 2 seconds. I'm wondering if the Ferraris just came up on them. Finally have a Haas going past. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 as long as we're able to keep DRS, but we are now stuck to the outside with Schumacher squeezing his way on by. Again, as long as we can keep DRS, I'm okay. But we didn't get DRS on the second zone, and that immediately opens up the gap. This is where we want to push on an attack, because
let's close this gap.
Those two have been chilling behind me with DRS for a while. I should have had DRS for the second zone there. We didn't get it. I was 3rd in line at the detection zone, a car length behind Schumacher, so no reason to have missed out there. But as we still have a few laps to go, I'd really like to be up close to these guys. 1.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Can I close it back down, or do they have that much more pace? Pourchaire now just 2 seconds behind Stroll, so he is catching him pretty quickly. That's who we will pay attention to here in the near future, as Albon is 17 seconds ahead of Tsunoda, but pitting is going to put us behind him. And 5 seconds to Vettel. That's going to be awfully close. And Pourchaire has caught Stroll. Pourchaire has caught Stroll. There you go. Stroll now 7 seconds behind Vettel. Blue flags have impacted that, but Stroll well off the pace. Blue flags coming for Pourchaire. DRS is open, but we hit the brakes and let the Alfa Romeo and Red Bull, that's Guan Yu Zhou and Perez, and now we want to push on and get back up there close into overtake mode. There's Stroll. Stroll's let them go by, but he still came out ahead of us. It is close, but we want to try to make a move now to get beyond Stroll and see what we can do. Albon at 39% is going to pit fairly soon from P16. Especially before the two Ferraris catch up to us, as Verstappen's already just gone by, so we want to stay out there a little bit longer with Albon and just watch as these guys get a little closer. As we get to a little ways ahead of them, that's definitely the time to pit. Pourchaire has overtaken Stroll. But now, can we leave him behind? So not ideal for that part. But can we hold him off and then drive away from him during the lap? Oh, he's going to make the overtake. Oh, and he's going to get the second DRS. I think this is one of those tracks where you get DRS twice from one zone, so you don't get, it doesn't swap back. So even with pushing, we've been able to stretch the last lap. Tsunoda, we kept the same distance on him, and we've actually opened a gap on Vettel a bit more. I think we may be far enough to come out ahead of Vettel. And then we're definitely going to be on the fasters. Pourchaire does make the pass on Stroll now, but it's a matter of getting away from him. Pourchaire closing up on Vettel, actually. And we pit just at the right time before the Ferrari comes up on us of Sainz and gives us those blue flags and costs us some time. 2.63. Oh, I think that's the best stop we've ever had for Albon. He's always been 2.7 or 2.8. And we come out just ahead. Oh, blue flags. But there you go. There is Vettel still quite a few seconds behind. And we are in that gap between. So, good. Okay, so Albon now in a window. We want to go aggressive here. So that's P17 and P19 right now. Obviously not good, but it is ahead of the Aston Martins. And it is ahead of... Oh, it's no longer ahead of Tsunoda. But 5 seconds behind Tsunoda. So Albon might still get back into that race. Tsunoda into the pits for his second stop. So we will be ahead of Tsunoda. There's no way. We're both cars. Albon, Pourchaire should easily finish ahead of Tsunoda now. As he's making an extra stop all the way down to last place. Pourchaire, maybe a little more vulnerable. Tsunoda, not too far behind. Not too far. We've got about 7 seconds advantage over Tsunoda for Pourchaire. But meanwhile, Albon, healthy gap. But we are 30 seconds behind the Haas cars that we couldn't even keep up with before. We do have the fresh tires now, but we're not going to catch up to those guys. Certainly not from 30 seconds behind. Now, how many cars might still pit over the next couple of laps is a big question. Magnussen and Schumacher could be. They could pit. Remember, they were on softs. They started on softs. They just pit a little bit later than these guys, but at 65%, they may pit again. Norris is at 70. Verstappen's at 71. We could see the Haas cars pit, but I think I'm a little too far back. Okay, let's focus on Pourchaire for a little bit. We've pulled away from Stroll. We need to get in DRS range of Vettel. So we're going to make a push. And let's use the overtake a little bit to get in DRS. Instantly, we've pulled back a couple tenths. Almost within a tenth. Almost within the 1 second margin now. But it looks like it's going to take one more lap. I'm guessing Vettel also trying to use his DRS to defend. Now we're within a second, by the way. But no DRS because the detection zone is back before the start-finish line. But we're within a second now. If we can open up the gap a little bit after the DRS zone, we might push on this coming lap. Go to the inside to defend as he's having a look on the outside. He's going to get DRS a second time, but I thought we had it blocked off and he goes by. Double DRS is very OP. Very, very OP.
Looks
but
like Aston Martin
we passed him
just
pretty
gained a
easily,
race
so
position.
I think we can use up Vettel's ERS over the coming laps and then attack again after we make a pass to drive away from him. That looks like Tsunoda, or is that Gasly? That is Gasly. We blue flagged our way to the side. That was Gasly. Youch. Gasly is more than a lap ahead of Tsunoda. Oh, and we nearly got Vettel. Having a look to the inside. We get the move done, and we're going to pull away a bit with DRS here. I think this might be our occasion to make a move happen, as we are about 0.8 of a second ahead. So, deploy. Try to drive away from him a little bit. 0.9 of a second.
Make sure you do
Over a
something.
second. .2. I think we might be leaving Vettel behind on this one. We've done what we needed to do. Tsunoda got around Stroll, by the way, so he's back up to P19. It would be nice if Tsunoda gets ahead of Vettel, but not either of us. And if the Haas cars pit, but I just don't see us getting within range. I think we'll still be 10 seconds back. 1.7 to Vettel. For sure now, just 3.8 behind. And of course, we got a little DRS. We used our push to pass. We used up some fuel. And now Albon has blue flags on the way as Gasly is approaching. Somebody locked up in Sector 2.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
Oh, it's Vettel. Well, that just left Vettel. Vettel's out, so we're well ahead of those guys now. Starting to look comfortable in 16-17. Tsunoda still behind Vettel, but just. So he'll move past him fairly soon. Just over 11 laps to go. Ocon, Russell, Verstappen all coming our direction. I don't think we'll face any more threats unless we really get slowed down. But Stroll, Vettel, Tsunoda in the middle of that train. So we really want to keep up some pace here to stay away from these guys if possible. But Ocon's coming on pretty quick. And then Tsunoda's not that far behind him. Leclerc with a mistake. Falls further back. Verstappen well ahead at this point. He's cruising towards victory. Leclerc and Sainz on the podium. Hamilton just 3 seconds off the podium. Could he challenge? Last I knew, though, Sainz had caught past Hamilton a while back. What are they on tire-wise now? Sainz is on mediums, but we've kind of seen that the mediums aren't working that great. Magnussen and Schumacher, under 50%. Will they pit? If they're going to pit, they're going to pit soon, but it's much too late for us for that to matter. Pourchaire, gap opens slightly, So Albin is running just 1/10 of a second per lap faster. Pourchaire and what's behind him we got to watch out for. So we'll keep an eye on Pourchaire for the next little while.
Is that a lockup?
Alonso with a lockup. He's not having a very good race. He's only P13. Two-stop very much did not work out for him. And Ocon, his teammate, actually in the points. Coming up pretty close. And then things are going to get tricky after that. Verstappen and Hamilton have made their way around Tsunoda and the Aston Martins. So those three are now in between us. But we're in trouble. I mean, they're coming up on Pourchaire here pretty soon. Pourchaire's going to have to make his way for Ocon first. Verstappen's coming pretty quick. And we make way for Ocon. Kind of getting his way a little bit, but we do slow down for him and lose a lot of time right there, and that's what I'm worried about. Now, Albin has a little more cushion, and he does have the push. Let's go ahead and go overtake for him to try to keep up the pace. Not to catch anybody, just to not be caught by Ocon, because Pourchaire, it's only the beginning, because next up, here comes the race leader, Verstappen. Okay, how's our gap now? 4 seconds to Tsunoda. 4 seconds. Now we can use the overtake. What we have left of it anyway, which is not a lot. Albin has been passed by Verstappen and not yet Ocon. Ocon's still behind him. Ocon now a lap down as well as he got blue flagged. Albin makes way for Ocon. He's got Russell close behind. And Pourchaire heading towards the finish. Verstappen claims the victory. You know, considering we had 2 full stops in the middle of the track to avoid contact, and how much that hurt our early race, and how bad we are on this course, P16, P17, not bad. Not bad. Starting from the back, we beat both Aston Martins. We beat Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. That was good. Nowhere near competitive with anybody else, but at least we were the best of the back markers. I'll take that. That is going to do it for this episode, though, of Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.